How's it, grade 9s? I'll be going through the 2019 June paper. Now, just keep in mind that there's a few things in this exam paper that you guys won't be examined on this year. So I'll let you know and I'll say you can leave that out. Okay? All right, so let's get started. Right, so from the following list of numbers, and they've given us a whole bunch of numbers here, we need to describe or list which ones are integers, irrational, rational, and undefined numbers. Okay, so as these numbers stand, for example, like this one's okay, we can classify that one. This one we can classify, that we can classify. And the ones that I haven't highlighted, we would just have to work out what they are, okay? So if you guys aren't too sure what this is, just put it on your calculator. So we've got, put it in exactly how it is here. So we've got the cube root of 12 to the power of 3. And that gives us 12. So this thing here is equal to 12. Now 12 we can classify, so that's good. The square root of 5, so just put that in your calculator, and you can see that you're getting an irrational number. So it's 2.23, and it just goes on and on. Okay, so that we can now classify. 0 divided by 3, and we get 0. Okay, so that we can classify. That one's fine, that one's fine. 7 divided by 0, well guys, you should know that that's undefined. And then we've got this thing over here. So just put it in your calculator. And we get, always put it into decimal form. Okay, and we get 2.5. All right, so all the things that I've highlighted in green, we are going to now classify. So we are looking for integers. Now, integers are full numbers, okay? They cannot be a decimal. They can also be negatives, okay? So it's 0, 1, 2, 3, so on. -1, -2, -3, and so on. So 12 is definitely an integer. So that goes in here. And do not write this, always write down what the original is. So we've got the cube root of 12 to the power of 3. That's not an integer. That is an integer. So 0 over 3. Not an integer. That is an integer. Not an integer. Not an integer. Okay, so now we've listed the integers. Let's have a look at irrational numbers. Now remember, the definition of an irrational number is it's non-terminating, non-repeating. Okay, so if you have a look at this, this is terminating. It is only 0.75. So that is not irrational. 12 terminates, so it's not irrational. This 2.23, and it just carries on and on, it's not repeating. Okay, so that is an irrational number. 0 is just 0, it terminates, so it's not irrational. 4,3333333. Now that is not terminating, but it is repeating. So that is rational. Okay, that is a rational number because it terminates. Undefined is neither. And then 2,5 is, it's not irrational, it is rational because it terminates. It's 2.5. Okay, so we've listed the irrational numbers. Now let's go through the rational numbers. So we've got 0.75 is rational. 12 is irrational, but I need to write down the original thing. 2.233, and it just carries on weird numbers. That's irrational. 0 is rational. 4,3333 is rational. -2 is rational. That's neither. And then 2.5 is rational. So write down the original. Okay, then we've got these undefined numbers. Well, the only one that's undefined is the 7 over 0. Okay, so grade 9s, you need to know how to classify your numbers in terms of these things here. Okay, right, your HCF LCM, you're not going to be tested on it. All right, question 2. Simplify the following, leaving your answers with positive exponents. Now, guys, remember, if we're multiplying and the bases are the same, we add those exponents. So this will be p to the -4 plus 6. So we just left with p squared, okay? -4 plus 6 is 2. Now, over here, our bases are not the same, so we can't do any of the rules, but we have negative exponents. And remember, grade 9s, the negative exponents are telling us they want to be in the opposite place. So this one's at the top, so it wants to be at the bottom because it's negative. This one's at the bottom, it wants to be at the top because it's negative. So all I'm going to do is flip them, and it becomes y to the 4 over x cubed, okay? And I have made my exponents positive. Right, next one. Again, a negative exponent, so it wants to go to the bottom. So this will be 1 over 3 squared plus, now grade 9s, anything to the power of 0 is 1. So we get plus 1. Now, 3 squared is 9, so that's 1 over 9 plus 1. Then 1 over 9 plus 1 is equal to 10 over 9. Okay. Now, with this one here, we have to distribute this exponent into each one of these exponents. And remember, if we have something to the power of something raised to another power, we multiply the exponent. So I'm using this law here. Okay, something to the power of something raised to the power of something, we multiply those exponents. So this one you must just be a little bit careful with, because we have to take it to each one of these things. And we have 3 different things in here that I'm going to take it into. So I'm going to have a look at the minus 4 is one thing. I'm going to look at the x to the minus 3 is another thing. And then I'm going to look at the y to the 4 is another thing. And I'm going to distribute that to each one of those things. So let's have a look at the green one first. So this is minus 4 squared. Then this one over here, because I've got something to the power of something, x to the minus 3 raised to another power, which is the 2, I'm going to multiply those exponents. So that's x to the minus 3 times 2. I'm going to do exactly the same for the y here. So y to the power of 4 times 2. All right, so minus 4 squared. Now, just remember what that means. It means minus 4 times minus 4. So a minus times a minus is a positive. 4 times 4, 16. Okay. X to the power of minus 3 times 2 is minus 6. Y to the power of 4 times 2 is 8. We never leave things with negative exponents. So the 16 is fine, because remember it's got an invisible 1 there. The only one with the negative exponent is this x, and I'm just going to take it to the bottom. So this becomes 16 y to the 8 over x to the 6. And there we have it. All right, grade 9s. Moving on to this one. Now remember, whenever we're taking the surd, either the square root or the cube root, we divide the exponent by whatever this number is in the front here. So if you've got the square root, remember that there's an invisible 2 there, okay? So the square root of 64, you all know, is 8. Then we've got x. Now you're going to divide each one of these powers by 2. So this will be x to the minus 16 over 2, y to the 36 over 2. So we get 8, x to the minus 8, 16 divided by 2, and then y to the 36 divided by 2 is 18. Remember, we never write things with negative exponents, so this will be equal to 8 y to the 18 all over x to the 8. That was the only one with the negative exponent. All right, going on to question F. All right, what I like to do with these ones is I like to get numbers with numbers and letters with letters, the like letters. Okay, so first of all, let's do the numbers. So we've got 6 can go into itself once, and then 6 can go into 18 3 times. So we've got a 3. Okay, now what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to fill in my invisible exponents, so that m has a 1, that has an exponent, and an exponent. Now remember, grade 9s, when bases are the same and you're dividing, you subtract the exponents. So just watch how I do this. This is going to be m to the 1 minus, Now I'm going to subtract the bottom one, minus 5. Okay, that is important. Put that in the bracket, okay, because it becomes minus minus. I'm going to do exactly the same thing for this one here. And we get y to the minus 4 minus 6. And this is all over 1. Okay, I've just brought everything to the top. I'm just going to simplify the exponents now. So we get 3, 1 minus minus 5 becomes 1 plus 5, which is m to the 6. And then over here, we get y to the minus 4 minus 6 is minus 10, and it was all over 1. Never write things with negative exponents. I'm just going to take this to the bottom, and we get 3m to the 6 over y to the power of 10. Okay. All right, grade 9s. With this one, we're just going to get like bases together, add, subtract, depending on if we're multiplying or dividing. So the first base I'm going to get is 7, and our first one is 3. Okay, do I have any other 7s at the top? Yes, I do. And we're multiplying, so I add that exponent. Any other 7s? No. But I have a 7 at the bottom, so I must subtract that exponent. I move on to the next base, which is x. So we've got 4. Any other x's at the top? No. Move to the bottom, so that becomes a minus 5. Move to the next base, which is y, to the 3. Any other y's at the top? No, so we don't add, but we have a y at the bottom, so I subtract that exponent. All right, so we just simplify these exponents now. That will give us 8. 8 minus 2 is 6. X to the 4 minus 5 is minus 1. Y to the 3 minus 2 is 1. Never write things with negative exponents, so this becomes 7 to the 6, y to the 1, all over x to the 1. Okay, just take it to the bottom. And don't worry about simplifying 7 to the 6. You can leave it just like that. Okay. Right, moving on to the next one. Never write things with negative exponents, so this becomes m to the 4. Just bring it to the top. Now, very similar to what I did over with this previous one here. If we're taking the square root, I divided the exponents by 2. I do exactly the same thing here, except now I'm going to divide the exponents by 3. Also, the cube root of 27, you need to ask yourself what multiplied by itself 3 times gives you 27. Well, it's 3. Okay, then that will be m to the 12 over 3. And we get m to the 4 plus 3m to the 12 divided by 3 is 4. Then these are like terms. We have m to the 4, m to the 4, so I can add them. So 1m to the 4 plus 3m to the 4 gives us 4m to the 4. And that's our final answer there. All right, and then the last one for the exponents. All right, so again, let me just fill in the missing exponents. So we have a 1 there. And remember, guys, I'm only doing it for the variables. The numbers I can work out to the power of something. Then that's got a missing 1 there and a missing 1 there. All right, so we've got this minus 2 to the 3. So this is minus 2 to the 3. Remember, if you have something to the power of something raised to the power, you multiply those exponents. So this is a to the 1 times 3, b to the 3 times 3. Here we're going to get 2 to the minus 2. And then here, multiply those exponents. So it's 1 times minus 2. All over 3 to the minus 1. 3 to the minus 1. Then a to the 2 times minus 1. b to the 1 times minus 1. Okay, now we can just start simplifying all of these things. So minus 2 to the 3, so that's minus 2 times minus 2 times minus 2 will give us minus 8. A to the 3, I'm just simplifying the exponents. 3 times 3 is 9. Then this one over here, this will give us 1 over 4. okay, because it's 2 squared is 4, but you've got the negative, so it just goes to the bottom like that. Then here we get a to the minus 2 all over 1 over 3 because of the negative there. Then here we get a to the minus 2, b to the minus 1. Okay, now grade 9s, once you get to this point here, what I would do is just use your calculator, okay? And I'm just talking about for the numbers, and I'm just looking at these numbers here. Okay, so watch how I do it on the calculator. We've got minus 8 times 1 over 4. Press equals and we get that. And I'm going to divide it by 1 over 3. And we get minus 6. So we know we're going to get minus 6, and I have dealt with the numbers now. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get bases the same and add or subtract the exponents, depending on if we're multiplying or dividing. So here we've got a to the 3. Anything else up at the top? Yes, we do. So this is going to be, and remember we're multiplying, so we add minus 2. Then I'm dividing, so I need to subtract minus 2. Okay, I move on to the next base, which is b. So we've got 9. No other b's at the top, and I have a b over here, so I subtract because we are dividing, so subtract minus 1. I can simplify this now, so minus 6. That'll give us 3 minus 2, which will give us 1 plus 2, which is 3. So we get a to the 3. Then b plus 1, so that gives us 10. And there's our final answer. All right, so I just want to see, we're going on to question 3 now. Express in scientific notation, okay? So remember with scientific notation, you always have 1 digit in the front, comma, and then the rest of the stuff. So this is 3, 6 times 10. Now I need to figure out how many times did I move this comma to get the comma over there. So we moved it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's to the power of 9, but grade 9s, it is a small number, so we need to make the power a negative. Okay, then this 74.5 million. So what I would do is I would write this out. So you got 74, and then we're going to do the million part now. So that's 5, 1, 2. So that's 3, 1, 2, 3. So there's 74 million because you have the 6 zeros, and then you have the 500,000. So remember, you've got to put 1. So if our comma is here, we've got to put 1 digit in the front, so the comma needs to go there now. So we've got 7, 4, 5. How many times did I move that comma? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. So this is times 10 to the 7. And because this is a big number, it's positive. Okay. Then evaluate the following, write the answers in scientific notation. When you get something like this, grade 9s, just do it on your calculator. Okay, so to show you, I'm just going to put each one in a bracket. All right, so we've got 3.6. Now to do this 10 to the 4, just press this button over here, and then you go 4. Okay, so that's that first one. Divided by the next one, 9.0 times 10 to the 2. And we get 40. But remember, they are asking us to put it into scientific notation. So just press Shift and then this E and G button until you get to the power of 1. And you see it's being difficult. It's not taking us to the power of 1. So we can deal with this. So we've got 40. Now, remember, 1 decimal place. So there we go. So this is 4 times 10. How many times did we move that? Once. And because that's a big number, it's positive. Okay. Going on to the next one. Here we are. All right. So it says here, A light year is approximately equal to 9.4605 times 10 to the 12 kilometers. Sirius, the brightest star, is 8.8 light years from the Earth. How far is Sirius from the Earth? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 8.8, and obviously we want to convert this into kilometers, and I'm going to multiply it by this here, because they told us we got 8.8 light years, but a light year is this distance in kilometers. So 8.8 times 9.4605 times 10 to the 12. Just put it on your calculator, guys. So 8.8 multiplied by 9.4605 times 10 to the 12. And I've put a syntax error here because this is supposed to be 0. And there's your answer there. And you see, it gives it to you like that. Now, as I was showing you guys earlier, if that comma there, that point, is not after the first one, what I want you to do is press Shift and then this E and G button. And it'll take it to you there automatically like that. Okay? So what we need to do is now we write 8,325. 24 times 10 to the 12 kilometers. All right, and that's our final answer. Right, so going on to question 4. I just want to see here, guys, I don't want to make the video too long. Okay, let's do question 4. All right, so it says here, given this expression here, all right, how many terms are in the expression? Now remember, pluses and minuses separate terms. So there's a plus, there's a minus, and there's a minus. So how many terms do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 terms. What is the coefficient of m squared in the expression? So what I'm looking for is I'm looking for m squared. And here is the m squared over here. So I just cover that like that. And what am I left with, grade 9s? I'm left with minus 5 over 3. That is the coefficient of m squared, because you just basically covered up. What you're left with is the coefficient. Then what is the degree of the expression in m? So we're looking for m, and we are looking for the highest power of m. So here we've got an m squared, here we've got an m to the 1, and here we have an m to the cubed. So which is the highest one? It's this one here. So this is the 3rd degree. Okay. Then you arrange the expression in descending order powers of m. So in other words, the highest power of m down to the lowest power. So we've got this term over here is the highest power. So this is minus 4m cubed over 3. The next one would be the squared. So it's minus 5m squared over 3. Our next one is this, plus 8m, and then we've got the constant term, and then we've arranged it in order. Then calculate the value of the expression if m is equal to 3. All I do is I take this value of m being 3, substitute it into the expression. So we've got minus 5. Always use brackets when you substitute. So this will be 3 squared. All I've done is just replace the m, all over 3 plus 8 bracket 3, change that m, minus 4, that m becomes a 3 cubed over 3 minus 3. All right, and then what you guys can do is you can just work out these things individually. So this one here will give you minus 36. This one here will give you 24. This one over here will give you, that's 27. Okay, I'm just going to use my calculator. So we've got 4, 3 cubed, divide that by 3, and we get 36. So that's minus 36. Sorry, this one won't be 36. This one will be 5, 3 squared Divide that by 3 and we get 15 plus minus 15, huh? And then minus 3. All right, then you can just put that in a calculator, get your final answer, and you get minus 30. All right, then find the sum of this and this. So we've got two expressions here that we are going to add. That one and that one. All right, so 7p squared minus 3p plus 6. Sum means plus, and now we're going to add this one, 6p minus 3p squared minus 4. All right, now grade 9s, all you have to do is just to find like terms. So p squared, p squared. So we've got 7p squared plus minus, which still gives us a minus, so we get 7 p squared minus 3p squared gives us 4p squared. Okay, so we've dealt with those ones. Minus 3p plus minus 6p, so that's minus 3p minus 6p gives us minus 9p. Then we've got 6 plus minus 4, the plus and the minus gives us a minus, so 6 minus 4 gives us plus 2, and we've simplified. All right, so this is a little bit of a tricky one. Remember? Okay, so we've got this and this and this. So what it's saying here, it's saying subtract the sum of this one and this one. So remember, the sum means add. So we've got to add these two together, then subtract whatever this answer is from 7. So whatever this answer is, we subtract it from 7. And to write it out, it's 7 minus, and now we're just going to add these two together. So 2x squared minus 8x plus 3 plus 3x squared. That will just be stay a minus, and that will stay a minus. Okay, so just be careful. Do not distribute that negative in just yet. I want to simplify what's inside here first. So 2x squared plus 3x squared gives us 5x squared. Minus 8 minus 2 is minus 10x. 3 minus 5 is minus 2. Now I can distribute that negative in. And we get 7 distributed with this one, minus 5x squared. With that one, we get plus 10x. With that one, we get plus 2. Okay, so our final answer is minus 5x squared plus 10x. 7 plus 2 is 9. And that is our final answer there. All right, grade 9s, I'm going to leave it there, and I'll make a part 2 for you now. Come.